I have to say I share completely in the previous guest's enthusiasm about the inauguration. I thought it was the only one I think in my lifetime that I've seen as a cognizant person that really spoke to me and really moved me. And I say this even though at the center of it is Joe Biden, who's not particularly poetic or someone that people get emotional about. He's a kind of nuts and bolts legislator and politician. But it's an incredible opportunity now before him to, I hate to use the word historic, but he has this kind of FDR moment where he can prove the democratic theory that government can work and actually benefit people. And at a time of enormous crises that we don't have to reiterate, but starting obviously with the pandemic and the economic distress that's going on right now.
Do you think it's important that Democrats really lean into the mandate I mentioned, that there are all sorts of complexities to elections in the United States, but the overwhelming sweep has been this blue direction?
Yeah, I think they should lean into it. I think that one of the things that I liked about what Biden did in the inauguration, and frankly, since the election, is project confidence and an actual belief in core principles of his party at a time when they're really needed, and at a time, of course, also when democracy has been so betrayed by the previous administration. And I think they have to lean in. I think the Democrats should lean into it not only as a political matter, but also as a patriotic matter, because the fact is there is a terrorist white supremacist movement in this country. It has a hold in the other political party. It actually has representatives on the floor of Congress. So it's an urgent matter that they lean in, just as you said.
I'm curious to get your views as well on how we're already seeing this new era play out with such high stakes that you just alluded to. It's revealing to see how Republicans are dealing. Take a look at Senator Ted Cruz. Everyone knows on January 6th, after the insurrection, he was leading the charge to overthrow the election, objecting to Pennsylvania's electors, which, among other things, would disenfranchise that state's voters. Now Cruz is attacking the Biden decision to re-enter a climate agreement, saying it shows that Joe Biden cares more about, guess what, Paris than Pittsburgh, although it was Cruz trying to disenfranchise Pittsburgh and then some in PA. Or House Leader McCarthy, he also voted to overthrow the race, trying to eliminate Biden's electors. Here he is today, calling Biden divisive.
Those executive orders he is signing are partisan. That's dividing. And I'm afraid that looking at this administration, if this is the start, what more is there to come?
Frank?
These guys are seditionists. They tried to overthrow a fair and honest democratic election. For them now to talk about division, political division, or to call for unity, another track they've been on since January 6th, it's so bogus on its face, and it's also noise that I think should be tuned out, and I think is being tuned out by the Biden administration.
Hey, I'm Ari Melber from MSNBC. You can see more of our videos right here, or better yet, subscribe to our YouTube channel below. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that.